I'm Katie Hopkins, and I am a 2025 Women of Impact nominee for Go Red for Women. On August 1st of 2023, I woke up about 6:15 in the morning, and I had felt a really sharp pressure, throbbing pressure really, between my shoulder blades. It wouldn't stop, so I turned to Google and I quick typed in throbbing pressure in my shoulder blades as a woman. And the first thing that came up was a diagram of possible symptoms for heart attacks in women. And I said, there's no way. I never thought in a million years that I'd be having a heart attack at 36 years old. So I ended up waking up my husband and I said, I think you need to take me to the hospital. I didn't tell him what I had Googled at that time because I didn't want to scare him. And Josh took me to Mercy. Well, they asked, do you have chest pain? Are you short of breath? What are your other symptoms? And I said, yes, yes, and yes. And they said, okay, well, let's hook you up to the EKG. It came back normal. So they said, okay, well, let's take you back to a room. I remember the ER doctor coming in. Her name was Dr. Groth. And she asked me a few things. They were going to run some labs to see how those were. And basically, I thought I was going to go home that day. This was probably close to 7:15. I mean, I got right in when I was there again due to my symptoms. And I started sweating profusely. My husband looked at the monitor and said my heart rate was up to 200. And then the next thing I know is Dr. Groth told the nurse to put the EKG back on me, and she said, Katie, you're having a heart attack. As you can see, a year and a half later, it still hurts a little bit. So she said, Katie, you're having a heart attack. I'm going to get you ready. They're going to take you back and put a stent in, or we're gonna make sure you're okay. We're gonna take care of you. And I just kept looking over at Josh and really just couldn't believe what she was telling me. I looked over at him and he had kind of just sheer panic on his face. And I remember saying, I love you to him. And the next minute I know, I told Dr. Groth that I was getting really lightheaded and I passed out. Well, what I thought I did was pass out. When I finally came to, I had realized that I went into cardiac arrest. I was in cardiac arrest for 20 minutes. They administered CPR for 20 minutes. It was a mixture of hand compressions and also the defibrillator. I was woken up, or came back alive, essentially, from the defibrillator, and I remember feeling the shock of the defibrillator, hundreds of bolts going through you. After that, they did have to sedate me. I was put into an induced coma. The cardiologist came in and told my husband, we don't know if she's gonna live. My rate of survival was 10% due to the severity of the heart attack that I had. My husband was told to just start thinking ahead. The other part of it was my parents were not even in Iowa. They were in Florida visiting my sister, and they were going to, it wasn't even the day they were supposed to come back, but of course they came back. My parents got there, same kind of story to my parents, was we don't know what the next 24 to 48 hours looks like. And my mom, when she was there, was holding my hand, talking to me, and she did say that I squeezed her hand on being asked to do it, and she was talking to me about my kids. And just kept telling me, you need to pull through for Josh and the kids. And I started crying when she said that to me. So they knew that my brain waves were okay. That was one thing they were worried about, was the damage to my brain, because I was without oxygen and CPR for so long. Again, my heart attack happened on August 1st. In the ICU waiting room on the digital clock was my birthday, June 24th. So that was a little bit of hope for my family, is why would my birthday be on the clock? Wednesday, I'm still at Mercy. They were still saying, Josh, you need to make a decision. Is Katie going to Des Moines or is she going to University of Iowa? And thankfully, my cardiologist now and cardiologist that is a family friend of my in-laws, Dr. Layla Pavandi, was on the phone with my father-in-law. She said, take her to the U. It was closer, wouldn't have to be in a helicopter. So Josh said they put me in the ambulance and rushed me down to Iowa City. By the time they got me to Iowa City, my vitals were already starting to get better. They had me still in the induced coma, and they said, we're gonna try to start very slowly, taking her off of multiple different medications. Josh said at one point I had 12 different bags hanging from the IV holder and was poked, and you could see him right after right after I got out of the hospital. I had bruises everywhere on my arms. I had one that looked like a dragon on my arm. It was so bruised. But then on Thursday morning, right around maybe 2 a.m., I woke up and I was in the cardiac ICU at University of Iowa, and I thought I was being abducted by aliens. So there's a little comedic relief to all of this. They had my hands like this in these huge mittens, and I, some way, shape, or form, was able to get my hand out of those, and I yanked my own breathing tube out because I thought if I didn't, I was never gonna see my kids or my husband or my family again. So I got sedated. I woke up again the next morning, and my mom and dad were there, and I was okay. I knew who they were. I wasn't thinking I was being abducted anymore. They asked me, do you know where you are? Yes, I'm at the University of Iowa Hospitals and Clinics. And they asked if I knew what happened. I said, yes, I had a heart attack. At that point, I didn't know I went into cardiac arrest. And they said, okay, well, Katie, we're gonna take care of you. You know, you're already showing improvement. And I think everybody at that point just felt a sigh of relief. Just from there, every day got better. And we finally, when we were able to discuss with the doctors at the University of Iowa, I had a spontaneous dissection of my right coronary artery, which essentially wouldn't have ever been able to be tracked. It was a tear in my right coronary artery that caused blood clots. And my heart was, that right coronary artery, which basically pumps your entire heart, it had filled up 100% with blood clots, and that's what caused me to have the heart attack but go into cardiac arrest, because I had no blood flow through that artery. It's also on the back of your heart, and that's when I found out that's why my back hurt. So they anticipated I would be in the hospital for 2 weeks at least, and I was in the hospital for 6 days total, from the day of my heart attack to the day I went home. The day I got home, I finally got to see my kids. Trying to tell a 5-year-old what just happened was really difficult. We just kept saying mommy was sick. I couldn't lift them, but it was just amazing to finally hug them. Just the road ahead, I knew it wasn't gonna be easy. I had to change my diet completely. I had to start cardiac rehab. I was at least 30 to 40 years younger than everybody in cardiac rehab. But it was like they became my second family, because we were all there for the same reason. We either had something with our lungs or something with our hearts. And they were just, I mean, they became kind of parents and grandparents to me, and I became really close with them and the nursing staff there. And then finally, once cardiac rehab was done, it was just maintain. And to this day, it's still, what do I need to do to make sure my heart is healthy? The reason why I became involved in Go Red for Women is because of my story. I never in a million years, like I said, thought I would have a heart attack at the age of 36. The number one cause of death for women is heart attack and stroke. I want to get the word out about heart health, knowing the signs of a heart attack. Because again, I never thought that my signs and symptoms were a heart attack. I always thought if I was gonna have a heart attack, I'd feel it go down my left arm and I'd have chest pain, but mine was completely different. Now that I had people rallying behind me, I'm ready to rally behind those who maybe haven't experienced what I've experienced, or in the future will experience what I experienced. I don't know that I can help you avoid what happened, but at least we can have research and have different things to help women that go through something like I did. My goal for my Go Red for Women campaign is $21,000, and the reason I have chosen that goal is to commemorate the 21 years that Go Red for Women has been in existence. If you would like to participate or be involved in my Go Red for Women campaign, you can do so by donating on the website, or you can also join one of the events that we have put together this year. The campaign starts on February 7th and goes to April 10th. The first event is called Laugh Your Heart Out. We are going to have a keynote speaker who is a local comedian named Doug Thompson, who is also a triple bypass and heart attack survivor. And then we will also have a Play Your Heart Out trivia night, 90s and 2000s sitcom, on March 22nd at Big Grove Brewery here in Cedar Rapids, and that is $120 for a team of 6. So I appreciate any help that you guys can give to help us meet our goal.